Hey there, and welcome to the Invest In podcast. I'm your host, Zac Hoyt, real estate investor, RV park developer, and your guide to turning adventures into cash flow. Every Thursday, we dive into the strategies, tools, and mindsets that help you invest smarter and live freer. If you enjoy the show, tap subscribe, rate us, and share it with a friend. Now, let's get into today's episode. This episode is brought to you by RVParkConsultant.com. They are your go-to experts for purchasing, funding, designing, launching, and growing RV resorts and campgrounds. With over 35 years of hands-on industry experience, they offer smart park layouts, creative financing solutions, and operational optimization strategies to help you save money and boost your profits. Ready to turn your land into a thriving hospitality destination? Visit RVParkConsultant.com. Link is in the description below. Welcome everyone here. Happy Friday. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Everyone have a good time. Lizanne, Greg, Mike, Absolutely. Dale. All right. Eve, Jose, love it. Brian, awesome. Great to see everyone here. Oh man, can't wait to catch up. Yeah, Lizanne, we're going to have some chats soon about everything going on. Excited. Great to see everyone. I'm very grateful for all of you. I'm extremely grateful for my team. Gosh, so that everything was working. Oh, I was just down in Mexico with my family, and admittedly for my wife, I think I worked a little bit more than she would have preferred, but of course she prefers nothing, and that she knows what she signed up for. As us both being entrepreneurs, you know, our life is flexible, but it kind of never stops. When do you ever turn it off? You know, holy smokes, as an entrepreneur, you just gotta find that balance. As they say, work-life balance. Hate that. It's never a balance. You always want to have your home life. That is your priority. And that fuels what you do. It's so much different than just being like, oh, let me turn this on and turn this off. It's not an or, it's an and. So, but I feel like I didn't take away too many credits, too much time. Like I put more into the bank of the family than I did taking things out by doing some work, because I had my team to help all of that. So hopefully they were wonderful for you guys last Friday when I wasn't here. So that's good. Angela, great to see you. See some head nodding about that. So that's great. Yeah, lots of praise. So let's just live in a little bit of that gratitude here. I mean, gosh, we all just had Thanksgiving, whether you spent it with your family or not. You know, I imagine you were reflecting on things that you're grateful for. So let's take 1 minute just to pop something that you're grateful for in the chat. Start with that energy, right? Find the chat. Happy Thanksgiving. Absolutely. Angela, they were great. I love to hear that, because that's just loving on my team. Love them more than I tell them that I do. And so I need them to hear that. But yeah, what are you grateful for, man? I'm grateful that my little boys didn't freak out flying. In fact, they loved it. You know, little gratitudes, yet alone the big ones. Heck yeah, for your family, community. Mike, I dig that. Yeah, healthy granddaughters. I tell you, as a dad, I see kids so much differently than I did 5 years ago. Basically, I had blinders on 5 years ago, being like, oh my gosh, eventually, sure, I'll be ready for that. I don't know when. But now it's just like little kids are the freaking world, right? We were all little kids. Isn't that crazy? Every single one of us here, we're all these tiny little rolling around, pooping ourselves, can't handle life type of kids. That's crazy. I mean, but that's something that I always just keep in mind, is just, we're always kids starting out something new, whatever we're trying to do. We're rolling around, we're proverbially pooping ourselves on what we're trying to achieve, right? It's like, oh no, we stumbled, we fell down, whereas we're trying to move forward. But that's okay. That's okay. As long as we have our family around us, you know, someone that's there to support us to do these things. It makes things easy. Yeah, Greg, still am. Growing up, overrated. Hell yeah, right? I mean, that is, I live in that childhood energy as much as humanly possible, because it's freeing. And that's really me saying goodbye to the engineering side. Engineering side of me is so darn serious. Wah, wah. It's grateful for the adult side of me, but yeah, let's live in this childhood whimsy of part of it. And that's what I love about RV parks is, gosh, we can build things all around in nature, whatever we want. Because if it's fun for us, it's probably fun for somebody else that's out there that's going to be like us that we're going to attract to that place. So that's the beauty of it. And I've had some wonderful conversations with people about some big things they want to build. So there's some big things that are coming. And I'm about to, I want all of you, everyone that's here, everyone that's part of the orbit around me, I want you all to be a part of this because it's just fun. We can do more together. We can have fun. We attract those like-minded people so we can enjoy life with or without our families, so meaning ourselves and our families, not an or, because we're all of that. But yeah, living in some gratitude, it's just a big thing. I mean, imagine there's some people that are going through health issues, or have gone through health issues, and that is a sobering reality for how short life is. Quick story. I don't know if you guys, you probably, maybe some of you know this. I think my team knows this about me. I'll share this. Probably a lot of you don't know this, is that it was 5-6 years ago. I had a huge health scare myself, and I was diagnosed with MS. If you guys know multiple sclerosis or what that is, so there's a lot of things I know in life, and there's a lot of things I don't know. In medicine, I don't know a darn thing really about. I trust those health professionals that are around me. I'll get into that in a second, but you got to just trust these people. And so I was diagnosed one night when I was doing tons of different things with real estate, have these screens in front of me. I'm looking so close at them, my spreadsheets, all of that, trying to figure things out. All of a sudden, it was like 11 at night. All of a sudden, my vision crossed. Like I was double visioned and I couldn't move these fingers on my hand. Couldn't move them. They're just like, these don't function anymore. So I used my good hand in the moment. I'm like, okay, I should probably take a step back from working so hard. And I Googled what this could be. And of course, WebMD is wonderful at scaring the bejesus out of us. But so I Googled it and it said, you're probably having a stroke. And so it's like, you got to rush to the hospital right now. It's, seconds matter, not minutes or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, gosh darn it. Hospital. What's my health insurance right now? So I Googled it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to take all of this, call an ambulance, or what's that going to cost me? At the time I was building things, it was crazy. And then I'm like, well, if I got to go to the hospital, I want to put on comfy pants, want to brush my teeth. Cause right. You don't want to like stupid things you think about when I'm reading, like seconds matter. But anyway, got into the hospital, and the ambulance was here, and they pull up in their ambulance, and I open the door and I'm just like, hey there. And they're like, hello. And I'm like, yeah, you're here for me. And they're like, and they're getting the gurney out of the back of the ambulance, right down on the street. And I'm like, yeah, for me. And they're like, can you come down here? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Walk down there, right? Still vision crossed, not, out of my mind a little bit of what's going on. But they put me in there. They put the EKGs on. They take me to the hospital. They run these tests on me. They don't really figure out. I'm there all night. They don't figure out what's going on. CAT scan and all of that. They let me go. They discharge me. I'm walking out in the hallway and my vision is still crossed and thinking, this is great, right? Like, what the heck is this? They've given me nothing, no hope, nothing in life to know what's going on. And it wasn't until a week later, my friend got me into the Cleveland Clinic here in Ohio. They're really highly renowned for a lot of things, thank God. But they're really good with whatever, figuring stuff out that's wrong with you. Got me admitted. 3 days later, in the middle of the night, they slapped this binder down on my bedside, and it said, welcome to having a stroke, essentially, and all of this. And I'm like, oh, I guess this is how they're giving me my information. It's in the middle of the night with a binder that says I'm having a stroke. Like, cool. Of course, remember, I know nothing about medicine. Not that is not my suit. So that's wonderful. I go back to bed because I'm like, what am I going to do with this right now? I wake up and they take the binder away, and then they give me a new one that, that says MS. And if you don't know anything about MS, I certainly did not. It's a disease that they don't know where it came from. They don't think it's genetic, but they don't necessarily know how it manifests. I'll tell you that things manifest from stress in your life. Disease manifests from stress, but they don't know where it comes from. They don't know how to cure it. They know how to potentially manage it, but it's this debilitating disease that you can have these reoccurring episodes that just make you get worse and worse, and then you can't walk, has been the diagnosis and the pathway for a lot of people in the past. And so I went through, like 5 years ago, obviously a state of confusion and depression, not know what's going on, is building real estate empire. And it was a little down, but it's like I was fine. I got through occupational therapy where, I mean, they put tape over some glasses to teach my eyes how to look straight again, basically teach my brain how to understand the signals from my eyes, how to look straight again. And then just this little foam ball that I would roll around in my hand. And then everything has been perfectly fine since. Every 6 months I go and I ended up getting this juice that they put in my arm. If you guys ever have these infusions, there's no people that have them, do that every 6 months. But my wife would always notice, she's like, you look gray and sick after you do those. And I'm like, well, but that's what they tell me to do. She's like, well, why don't you ask them when you can get off of that? So I asked them, when can I get off of this? And of course you ask a doctor something like this, and they're just like, oh no, there's no getting off of this. You're normal for a while. And I'm like, well, but I'm extremely healthy in everything that I do. I'm eating much cleaner. I'm doing all these things now that I didn't do as, admittedly, a bachelor, right? So I'm doing all of these things much, much better than before. How can I get off of this? Because I haven't had any symptoms. And of course, their answer is, well, you probably haven't had any symptoms because we've been treating you with this $160,000 bill to your insurance juice every 6 months. Get out of here, right? Crazy. So and they don't even necessarily know, when you read the documentation, they don't necessarily understand how the juice works. So it's like, this is crazy. You're pumping me full of all this stuff. And my wife is saying it makes me look gray afterwards. And supposedly it's keeping me whatever, but don't want to do that. That's not what we do in our house. That's just not what we do. I don't know if you follow, but I've got 2 little boys. They were both birthed at home. They, they're not vaccinated in any way. They're the smartest little boys that our friends know and see, and everything that's going on. They're very well advanced. And, a lot of that, I see lots of crazy things that come out about vaccinations in general for kids, linking them to autism. If you follow any of this, I don't know, going off on a tangent about this, but it's so crazy. The industry just wants to pump us full of all of this stuff that they don't quite understand. And we are the guinea pigs. And who's making money on it? It's the pharmaceutical companies. And the doctors, unfortunately, are just blindly following the best advice that they know, but they're just getting that from the pharmaceutical companies. Anyway, long story short, this has been something that I dealt with 6 years ago and all of that. People always see me now. They're like, why are you so happy all the time? I tell them, why the hell not? What do you do every day? Why not live in happiness? Why not live in love? Why not live in gratitude and give that out into the world? I remember right afterwards, I was just start running and running even more and more because I didn't even know if I would be able to take any other steps at some point. If I couldn't take any more steps, by golly, I was going to take all the steps that I could now and run. And all the people that would put off and just sit down and be like, oh, not today, not today. Screw that. We're going to do these things today. And so that's that energy that I want to give you guys for everything that we're doing is don't wait. We can take these steps right away. Live in the moment. Love and hug the people that are around you. I love all of you for being here the day after Thanksgiving. You could be getting all those Black Friday deals. Now we can do them digitally anyway. So everyone's hitting us up. So we don't even have to move. It's a lazier society that the marketing system is creating, a dumber society because they're pushing all of this stuff on us. So it's harder to get through all of the fake information that's out there. And with AI coming out there even more, holy smokes, I make images of myself to my team and they know they're fake because Ralph looks at me and he's like, dude, you need to pump it through these other AI engines so you get real skin texture to make. And I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to play around with these tools and make some fun that's out there and make it easy. We want to have it easy and do all those things. But, you gotta you got to live and move forward and just feel that gratitude, because this is the energy that fuels me, that makes me show up, that makes me excited for all of these things, that makes it so that I can just give and love on you guys. And I don't take any day for granted. So I appreciate all of you guys being here today. I'm here to show up and give you every darn thing that you want and need in this. And it's going to continue, right? I'm going to keep doing it every single day. I can't wait showing my little boys everything around the world, showing my little boys all the RV parks that you guys own in the future. I want it to be this community where I'm like, hey, today we're going to Eve's RV park. Guess what? Kevin's got this new RV park that he's created that's out there that no one's ever seen some of this crazy technology before, because he really loves the technology side of it, right? Angela, I don't know enough about you, but you might love glamping and the outdoor side of things. And you're all into this outdoor hospitality, doing something completely different that's a reflection of you and your internal love. It's manifesting on the outside. That's what I want to showcase. That's what RV parks can do. It's not the numbers. It's not, the nitty gritty details. I mean, it is. And it's the ability to create and to manifest the things that we see inside that we want to show other people that are out there. And so that's what I love about all of this. And that's why what we're creating is fun. It's technological. It's giving back to the ecosystem of the world, right? It's loving all of that, and it's teaching our little kids that we're all little kids. And I know, man, our favorite memories are just living in that energy of playfulness and being on vacation, having less worries versus more worries, so we can achieve more together. And that's where some of the conversations I've had this past week with people, and I'll be bringing in to all of you, is how we can make things easier, how we can do things on a bigger scale, and how we can be a part of that bigger scale without having to do all those things. We don't have to wear 1,000 different hats, right? We can wear the hat that we're great at, and we can excel in that aspect of who we are as an individual. Because otherwise, you're wearing 1,000 different hats. You might be good at some of them, but you're not going to be great at all of them. And by being just good or okay at some of them or all of them, it's going to bring your energy down, 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 down. And you're going to be even worse at the ones that you were the best at. It's going to bring that energy down. So you're not going to be living in your highest energy. And frankly, you're going to have a lot more stress than you should. And that stress can manifest in lots of different types of things that we don't want it to. But mostly, we just want to be able to show up for the people that we love and make those awesome memories with those people that are around us. So let's go buy some RV parks and enjoy them all together and band against those big corporate Black Rocks and everyone that's going to be buying everything up, because that's what they're going to be doing. I mean, they are, right? They're buying all the different types of assets. So let's band together as the littler companies, that all of those things. And just, man, we just have to band together so that we can live in that great energy and achieve more easier than if we were just doing it alone. That sound exciting to you guys? Oh man, it sure does to me. So yeah, and so I guess an end of that story, stupid MS, right? It's like, I don't even really associate it. It's funny because Ralph ended up bringing up to me just like a week ago or so. He's like, this is one of the things that compelled me when I first met you at a local meetup. You mentioned the story about yourself. I'm like, dude, I even forgot. I forget this because I don't associate that with me. That energy is just like, it's not a part of what I do. And in fact, that juice that I take every 6 months, I stopped that. I didn't take that this last summer, and I canceled my whole insurance because I'm like, screw all of that noise. Cancel it. Done. Right. Let's do the healthy path. Actually, I took my money from health insurance. I pumped it into this holistic doctor that is now a remote consultation for me, and test all my metrics. And like, let's do everything the healthy way. Let's try that out, because screw this other way that nobody has great answers for. And it's just not rooted in great science. What I don't know about medicine, I do know about science, and I love science. But what I found digging into medicine is that it's not science. The actual science behind it is just pushed down into the world. People don't see that. It's hidden because big pharma wants it to be hidden. They don't want those studies to be out there. Again, if you like a lot of this stuff, follow my wife, Monique. She really loves digging into that. She's an energy healer, and she loves. She used to have well, she has a master's of public health, so she knows how to chase the money in all of the research that's out there, and it's amazing what she uncovers. And she makes some of her friends used to shun her with everything with COVID when things were happening and everything with vaccines. And they'd be like, oh, no, 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 that's not real. That's not real. This is what I know. That's outside of what I'm told and what I believe. So, gosh, that's just BS. You wait a few years and they're now like everyone's coming out with, well, this is kind of the truth about, COVID. And this is the stuff that no one was saying. And this is the stuff with vaccination. So I apologize if I offend you on some of those things, but just know that there's a lot more information out there than right? Yeah, Mike, I see your little daughter there, and that's the world, right? That's the world. You give them the hugs every day, man, because that's everything. So anyway, let's get some focused back on RV parks, but I wanted to share that a little bit with you guys just to give you some perspective, a little more perspective on me, because I will always love on you, give to you time and time again. So, all right, so we can get into a little bit of deal analysis. And I know Kevin is my deal analysis master with this, but before we get into that, yeah, Kevin, that's you. That's right. Before we get into that, does anyone have any general questions that you'd like to talk about with RV parks, something like demystify all of that? Any questions that come to mind? It's okay if you don't have them. Well, I just want to make the forum open for you guys. So if you ever have any questions, just know that you can come here for them.
I have some questions, Zach.
Okay.
Not some. I know, I mean, for us with the one park that we're getting right now is we ended up doing an SBA loan, but I'm wondering, I see a lot of people doing the stack method, Morby method, and haven't been able to wrap my head around, like, how does that work? I mean, I don't know if you understand any of that. And then, a lot of people are also like doing capital raising and stuff. And I think people come in and they're like, where should I start? Should I get an RV park first? Should I look for the financials first? Like what's the starting point for people? And how do you balance all that? Like where do things come? Where do they fall?
Yeah, those are great questions. And so I tackled that internally, like how would I present that to you guys, to anyone who's starting out? And my answer always goes back to start at the end and work backwards, because I have started just running right where it is and say, all right, let's get this under contract. Let's figure out what to do next. Oh gosh, I don't know how to close on it. So I guess I'm going to wholesale this one here. How do I wholesale, right? You're getting into all of this stuff. Start at the end and work backwards. What do you want to do with your deal? Like for your deal, you want to take it down. You want to own it yourself. Maybe it needs some value add that's done to it. So if knowing that it needs some value add over here, then we can work backwards. And I guess I'm reversed here, so I'll start here. But yeah, knowing that we want to own it, we're going to have to refinance it at some point, right? And because you're probably going to use some bridge terms, some short-term funding here, and SBA can handle some of all of this. But start at the end. You want to own it. You don't want to just sell it. So you need an ability to either refinance it or get it to a point where you've got like a 30-year type of amortization on it. Call it 30 years. Maybe it's 25 years, whatever it is, long-term amortization. So you have to figure out those solutions backwards. So I would look at those funding sources. How do you fund those ones? Those are typically credit unions and banks. What do they like? They like super clean books. Oh, guess what? We're buying an RV park that doesn't have super clean books and it has value adds. So then we've got to step a little bit further along in the process, more towards the beginning. And so we have to buy it not with banks or credit unions typically, although there's some caveats around that, but typically when you're starting out, they're not going to want to do that. So what do? You use these types of DSCR lenders. You use some bridge type of lenders, maybe debt that's only good for 2 or 3 years. You can do your value add, and then you can move into that bank or that credit union product that's at the end. And that helps step you into the beginning of how do I structure my offers? And this is a great segue into this workshop series that we have that's every month. The very first one that we did was all about funding, all the different funding sources, because I wanted to go through that with you guys. And you guys can look at this on the podcast and work on that, right? Check that on the podcast. Someone will drop that podcast link in the chat. And there's one specifically to the first workshop series, because that's where we started was before you find your deals, just have an idea about the funding. Let's like have an hour-long conversation. It was an hour and a half about the funding to figure that out. Because maybe for you, it's just, all right, we want to wholesale this off to be like hot potato, get it under contract, hot potato, get it off to someone, make some money. But eventually you want to learn how to take those down. Um, and so with that, yeah, you got to figure those things out for you and your situation. The stack method that you're talking about, the one that we're purchasing right now, is a stack method deal. And the trick with that, and there was a meetup where we had Jay Holden on there, and he went over that. So I know that that's on our podcast too. Ralph, I don't know if that one dropped yet. If that one, so check that out, the one with Jay and the stack method. But he went over that, and I was getting some resources from him. I'm going to share those in the Facebook group as well. But basically, the simple thing to think about is you want to have seller financing of 50% or more for a stack method to work. So the down payment that I'm offering a seller is going to be 50% or less. And it's just how you're going to do it. And in fact, when I was talking with this one seller, he didn't want to sell this other land because it's like, oh, we got to build this up later. And then it's a restaurant and all this other acreage. I'm like, well, I want everything. I don't want some of this. I want everything, because he'd be willing to seller finance all of it, but he owed debt on this one part. Anyway, I'll break it down more because next week on Thursday, our next workshop series is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And it's all about deal structuring. And that's one of the things is we want to be able to know when we're talking with these sellers, what are our options of deal structuring? Because if they say they need 70% down, okay, well, we can't necessarily do a stack method on it, but what else can we do to make it juicy to line it up for the lenders that we have? But if they're saying they own it free and clear, it's like, whoa, all right, now everything is possible. Let's work and see what makes sense. But we know where we're essentially going, and we can give them different LOIs to say, all right, here's a 0% down model. Here's a 30% down model. Here's a 50% down model. And if you really want all the money up front, really, 70 is kind of the extent of the down, because anything beyond 70% down is basically cash anyway. So let's get the full discount for cash. But anyway, it's getting into the conversations we'll have next Thursday. But the stack method, yes, you want to have the down payment be 50% or less, or the seller finance portion would be 50% or more. And that's because we can get a DSCR lender at 70% of that. And so there's that extra 20% that we're able to pay our closing costs, our transaction coordinator, our transactional funds that we'll need, where we don't even need to show that we have money out of pocket. And so we can actually get money in our bank account when we buy the RV park. So that's what we've put together for this RV park that we're buying in Georgia right now. It's a great opportunity for that. It's a fun story because it's the fun way of buying RV parks. Because again, that's how I started, with no money and destroyed credit. Real quickly, if you guys can, in the chat, how many of you guys here are looking to buy your park as well as Birddog? What is that, Ralph? Ralph's asking me to ask something. What do you want me to ask? How many people here are Birddogs? And how many people here, can you just put that in the chat and just say yes for Birddogs? You're looking to find a lead of an RV park, and you don't necessarily want to take it down, but you want to give it to us or somebody else. And then you either get money at closing or equity at closing, or possibly a blend of both of those. You could become an owner by just giving us a lead for all of that. There you go, Ralph. Right on, man. And you see, guys, I'm very transparent with what's going on, right? We're working through everything as we're doing it. I thankfully have my team to move things forward. They're dropping all these things in here. Oh, awesome. Lizanne, you are too. Look at that. You're amazing. Amazing. Can't wait to chat with you and Jessica more about things.
And Zach, just a second, I just asked that because we are restructuring some of the events. Some events will apply to both RV park buyers and Birddogs, but some of them will be just for RV park buyers. Right? So we have different segments that we're putting training together, so people can watch it on their own pace and reach out and have their kind of a white glove support.
Heck yeah. Thank you for that clarity. And then, yeah, we've got some people in here that are actively looking to buy their first park. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I fully support everyone in this, right? It's a blue ocean, meaning it's very abundant. There's lots of opportunity that's out there. I'm here to be a resource. And again, I want my little boys to bop around to everything. Oh, speaking of which, and then Brian, I'll answer your question. I appreciate you. Real quickly, yeah, one of the things that we are doing, we are going to Washington, D.C. December 10th. And that's part of my podcast. And we have been asked by Ojai to officially cover all the advocacy, basically all the events that they have at Ojai. They loved what we were doing at their conference, and they're asking us, they're paying for us to come down to DC and not only advocate in DC, but cover everything that's going on. And then, yeah, we're officially covering all of their stuff moving forward. It's really, really fun and exciting. It's just, it goes hand in hand with, I want to be there to help everyone out in the industry, everyone. And then as you guys get your parks, I want to go and see those parks, and I'll come and I'll interview you, and wherever you are in the journey, the beginning, the middle, the end, it's all part of the wonderful story of life. And so I want to be there to help document that, extract that, so other people can feel that same energy and learn from you guys as well. So that's just part of what I am doing. So if you guys ever find anyone that I should be interviewing, talking to on our podcast, anything that's interesting, please shoot it to either myself or anyone that's on the team, and we'll look at that. I know that I'm really having Ralph lead all of that up with the vision with the podcast, and he's doing a great job with all of that. He's got some wonderful things in the works. That's why he's asking you guys some questions too. But yeah, really honored to be a part of that, asked to be a part of that. It's never anticipated that, but it's pretty fun. Brian, what's going on? You're moving around, you're bopping, you're driving. Hopefully it's still a good time for you to chat. Just be safe.
Thanks. Yeah, I had to run to pick up my son from basketball practice.
Heck
So I
yeah.
apologize for all the bopping around.
No apology needed.
So my question, I'm actually about to go into contract for a park that I sourced and found. And it's really an underwriting question, because when I underwrote the deal, there was about $89,000 in there for management. And then when I went up to the park and I found out that the husband and wife that are leaving, they're actually the brains and the runner of the park. The $90,000 goes to a maintenance guy, goes to someone that does a checkout. They have nighttime security, and they have people, but they're not the brains behind the operation. So I'm saying to myself, well, I have to add something into the analysis for either myself if I'm going to run the park, but eventually I want to put a manager, someone in there that could take over the park other than myself. So once I added about another $80,000 for a real manager, or someone that could actually, the brains behind the park, that can deal with all the value added items that are already there and I can create, that just tanks the deal.
Mm.
And the owners were basically paying themselves off of the profit of the deal, but that profit now will go to debt service.
Right.
So is that just kill the deal, or do I have to include that? I'm just kind of like, I don't know which way to go with this.
Great question. That's a great question. So this is definitely a great question. We see this often. So yeah, this is a heads up as people are underwriting this, just to like the next level of underwriting, right? And so Brian, what I'll ask you is, do you happen to know roughly what the gross revenue and NOI is on this park?
Yeah, so 100%. So the gross revenue is $700,000. It's a seasonal park. It's $700,000. Prior to me, the NOI is about, say, $250,000.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I would say first thought in my mind, and Kevin, I want to tap on you to help answer some of these questions too, give your insight on it. But the difference between 700,000 and that 250,000 net, that's huge. That's your expense ratio. Their expense ratio that they're having right now is really high for some reason. I'm not sure why, but anything over 50% is extremely high for an RV park. I mean, it's seasonal, so it's definitely short-term people, but you probably have people that are there for the season as well. I imagine they buy some of those season passes as well as monthly and
Correct.
nightly. Yeah, that's
Correct.
typical with season. So because of that, I'm just surprised to see that much. I wonder if some of that expense that they have in there is more like CapEx, is more like they're using that to build some bigger things without seeing any of the numbers or teasing it apart. I
Yeah.
can't, but those are just the first things that are coming to mind as I'm looking at that. So the reason I asked you gross revenue and NOI is just to see that relative 90,000, that 89,000 that you're talking about of employee, whatever, people that is going towards that. What is that relative? Because if your NOI was, well, if your gross revenue was more like 200 and you've got 90,000, that's something. But I mean, 700,000 to 90,000. That's reasonable, but we would tend to think that you can get a manager and a full-time maintenance person usually as the husband-wife combo for about 90 grand.
Right.
So
So they
that's typical. So to pay someone 80 grand to be the awesome brains and everything, I think that would be maybe a little steep. Like you're paying them a little too much. Maybe it's a possibility where you could do like a structured payment where there was, their salary and then there was bonuses if they hit certain amounts that
right.
could potentially get up to something higher. But yes, something is off because usually with seasonal parks, you can get seasonal labor that helps you. And then, besides like the work campers and college types of people, younger people, because I imagine not knowing everything about it, you can fold them all into the mix. But you need someone there that's long term to manage all of that. Um,
Right. They have like two full-time people and then about eight part-time people.
okay.
So it's
Okay.
and the thing, the 250 is really the NOI when I originally looked at it was about $323,000. And then when I started underwriting that manager in there, it took it down to 250. So I'm
Mm.
like, so I didn't. And then also, when you underwrite these things, do you factor in your capex to save money to renovate it, or you shouldn't look at that when you underwrite the deal to see if the cap rate's the same, or is that
So you're going to need that money from
right?
somewhere.
Yeah,
So this is, part of the problem of figuring out your whole plan and working backwards. So either you have to have that money in the beginning, or you need to be able to get that from your revenue, your net that's in there. Um, but it's part of that bigger picture that's going into the whole thing. Ideally, you would have it separate because you really want to also have a little bit of a war chest for your park as well.
right,
For anything that pops up, yet alone the fact that it's seasonal, you're going to have to ride out that season. And so you're going to need some type of funding. And maybe it's just, there's lots of funding that's out there that you can get to help manage the seasonality of things. So there's different levels of it. But yeah, I mean, still, yeah, it's a curious one. It doesn't necessarily tank it, but this thing is bloated with expenses from something.
yeah,
I think it's the employees because, like I said, the manager, if they're both getting paid, the husband and the wife are being paid separately, and it combines to like 86,000, then that's twice what they should be getting for seasonal. Then I think you said like 80,000 or something for the maintenance guy. I mean, that's way more than he should be getting, unless he's just
That
doing like tons of work and it's a huge park. But it's
Brian's
seasonal.
Brian's
And
proposing to find like a strategy person, like the brains, and potentially paying them 80 grand
right, and
on
like a
a
manager
yeah.
typically will make on a
you got my
year-round
son.
park, $46,000, $50,000 a year. and that's even 50,000 is high. So yeah, for seasonal, they should be making 26 to 32,000 a year, just for a regular manager, for seasonal. So yeah, that's way too much money. And I think they were just adding an owner draw on top of that or something. But then you got the part-time people. You can, I don't know the setup they have, but I'm hoping that they're using work campers where they can just give a camp spot to them, as part of their compensation. So if change the dynamic of the part-time people to work campers, that'll save you a lot of money, on employee expenses, and then also help you with taxes and whatnot. We have a video that kind of goes into that, a little bit, but I don't think it was fully published. I know I put a link at one point for people to see the video that I did on it, to talk about work campers and how you can use them to erode your taxable income and just save tons of money. So there's lots of things that it sounds like you can cut because the NOI being that low, I mean, their cost to run the business is about twice what it should be. So there's tons
So
of bloat in there.
that's it. Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'll have to
Yeah.
maybe take a different approach on this. It's a
Well,
great park. And the NOI was like at 10% before I started. Not the NOI, the cap rate was a 10% cap rate. And so I started factoring all these things into it. And it's still like a 6% cap rate, but that's not really doesn't really fit my buy box.
no, that's so you're going to have a hard time with your debt service, with a
Absolutely.
6% cap rate. But
Yeah.
yeah, so part of it is teasing those things out. There's something there. I mean, if they're bringing in 700 grand, there's something that's there for sure. There's like good draw that's there, and it's just a matter of teasing out all the glut. And that's usually what happens with these parks over time is they just accumulate that glut from year to year, year to year. They don't really they might not have that business mindset. They're just trying to do a little bit more, so they just pay a little bit more. They don't know all the things that we know, and collectively as a hive, we know of even more.
Sure.
And so we can say, how many ways can we erode this down and make that better? But there's something that's there.
They have bands on the weekend.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's a family park, and I think they have a two-year wait list.
yeah. I
They
mean,
have a
it sounds
two-year
like a great place, and
wait
probably
list.
Gotta drop it off, and it's
probably you could increase the price
in
on
the
things too.
right
Yeah.
up the street from us.
I don't know what that noise
Let me
is.
click that. I got that.
Okay.
But yeah, the fact that there's a 2-year wait list, they're very willing to pay at those prices. So
Yeah.
that you can increase the prices on
Yeah.
things. So you can do some chargebacks on some items. I'm sure there's many different ways that you can trim things out, but it's just a matter of getting your financing to work to take it down in the beginning and to feel that you've got enough room to add value from it, and where your money's coming from for all of that.
So there's about 100 grand left. After everything's done, it's 100 grand left. But once you start talking about CapEx, and then if you need to increase someone's pay to really take over the park, that additional money gets smaller and smaller. So unless I'm missing something, I don't know. I'm just at a loss right here. So
Well, yeah, I mean that's a good opportunity. This is where diving deep into some of these really just helps. It helps a real lot, and it takes a lot. And so frankly, I mean, when we dive into a park for underwriting, just so you guys know, I mean, we meet once a week and we go over lots of different deals on stuff, and we're working and we're skimming the surface to be like which ones can move forward. But then when we move the ones forward and we get into the actual due diligence of it, it's
yeah,
taking a long time looking under a microscope, thinking of what we can do, but also trying to figure out what they actually did do. And it takes multiple different people. You've got someone that's looking at operations. We've got a financial person that's digging through all their finances to understand, all right, how did you classify these items and how can we
sure.
tease all of that out? But really, we do that during due diligence, because to do that all in the beginning of things, it'll bog you down. as
Well,
much.
that's a good point because I can very easily put this under contract and kind of figure that out. Um, I guess the question is, do you spend all that money doing due diligence? I'm not near. I'm in a different state. So do I go up and start meeting inspectors and spending all this money while my underwriting team is doing a deep dive, and then you find out, but then you have to, I guess, I hate to retrade the guy at the
Yeah.
end, but but is that just 50%? Does that happen 50% of the time where you have to retrade or start talking about?
I
I'm
mean, frankly, if they don't have super clean books and it's mom and pops, usually there's something. There's
Yeah,
something that you're finding. There's something they either knew or they didn't know and they don't care, or, they may or may not be willing to adjust some things on it. If they don't owe anything on it, they should be
they
agreeable to
don't.
some holding some type of note on it. So that helps. Um, but yeah, just having realistic expectations, that's certainly, and that's one of the things that, so I'll set that expectation with them. I'm like, just tell me the details. Give me the good, the bad, but tell me everything because I'm going to trust you when we're putting in this offer because I don't want to have to retrade things later. And I just
Right,
want to trust you on this. We're going to verify all those things, but let's just tell me all the nitty-gritty details right now. Just get it all out.
sure.
What's that?
I was gonna,
Uh,
I was gonna say something. I just had a friend who just went through that, and they said we need all the nitty-gritty details, tell us everything. And then when they hired their inspection or had the inspection done, they found so many things, and so the sellers, were trying to cover or lie or whatever. So, but then, on the other hand, there's also the other way around too, where sometimes they're just old and they don't know how to keep books. They did, things by hand their whole lives. They're afraid of credit cards, stuff like that. So a lot of it's just building that relationship and, just really getting to know them and the trust factor and, getting in there, but don't overly trust either because there definitely are people that try to cover things up. So it's an interesting balance, right, Zach? It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
So do you put that under contract and then do you say, okay, I don't think the park is worth this, but let me put it under contract and then retrade? Or I mean, I hate to go in there and say, okay, this is great, come back and be like, it's not, your park's not worth this, and they go through that whole, and but that's sometimes, but then if you do that, they get more vested into you in the process, and then maybe they're more willing to negotiate the price down.
They do. They do. All those things are true, and we can't anticipate what type of person they're necessarily going to be, but sometimes they'll dig in, they'll be like, "Nope, this is what we agreed on, and that's it." And other times they'll be reasonable with that, but that's kind of the risk that we take, and that's what people
Yeah,
don't see. That's what people don't see when they just see like the good deals that happen and they're like, "Oh, I can get into this, it's easy," but that's the reality is that we spend money, even when it's a single family home, you spend money, you spend time on it. It's just when it's a commercial property, you spend more money, more
sure,
time,
sure.
but the payoff is presumably better. But yeah, it's those things end up happening. So, what I would advise is just you get it under contract as best as you can with the information that you can. And if it's an off-market deal, presumably you're not fighting other people for it. So you have a little bit more time than if it's a juicy on-market deal. A lot of the ones that are on
Yeah,
market right now
yeah,
have been sitting for a while. So the ones that are sitting, you still probably have time to do things on them. But, it eventually, when you're doing your underwriting portion of it, do it in stages, even in due diligence, where do the stuff that doesn't cost you as much money and more like time and conversations of going through it
right,
first, because you could sink yourself into all of that. But yeah, just like Lizanne's saying, I mean, you go and you actually pay and you get inspectors, they look under everything, they peek. And these owners, they're not paying other people to look under and peek, and they don't necessarily want to peek under things themselves. They're like, yeah, it's working. If
sure,
it's broke, someone complains, then we'll fix it, right? If it ain't broke,
absolutely.
not going to fix it type of mentality with something that they own. But when we're buying it, yeah, we're looking at every nook and cranny. And they're either going to acknowledge those nooks and crannies and issues over time, and it's how you present it as well, or they're just going to say too bad and screw it. It
Yeah.
is what it can be, and they might just have an unrealistic expectation. It's hard, but like Lizanne was also pointing out, you build that relationship and you drop those little expectations like, hey, we're gonna put this agreement together with the best of our knowledge right now. Of course, if we find other things, then we're gonna have to address them at that time, and that's reasonable, right? Because you're having this
Sure.
sixth sense that there's something that's there. When their expenses are so high, there's a sixth sense, and you could even ask them, why are your expenses so high? You ask some of these things, you can tease things out, and even having some resources, some other people to bounce things off of, some consultants. There's various consultants that you can pay, even just hourly, right?
Sure. Sure.
As opposed to like a big chunk of money, just paying someone hourly to look over this, to have you understand what questions there are. Yeah.
You guys have somebody that does that? That I can pay hourly to
Yeah,
maybe
so
dive.
there's a few different people. I know there's rvparkconsultant.com. That's
Okay.
what Kevin and I have. I deal more with the financial creative financing and structuring the deal and capital raising side of it. He deals with the nitty-gritty details of the park. There's other ones that are out there as well. Maybe we and this leads into another question that I want to pose to everyone, because I could put these things that are out there. And some of these people that only work hourly, I've noticed they start to work now on a deal basis. Maybe they don't like to give all their information away in an hour. Um,
Sure.
so there's that. But just having someone else to bounce ideas off of and scenarios is super helpful. Anything under $1,000 that you're paying for that saves you from one of these deals is invaluable. But I'll put together any other resources like that as I come across them. And so, this is for everybody that's here. You guys have an idea. I assume by now you guys have an idea of some of the resources that we have that are available to there, and we're looking to put more things together. What other resources would you guys like to see? What are the problems are you facing? What are things are in your mind or problems you're really facing that you would like to see as a resource or something that we can offer you guys going forward? Whether it's a document, whether it's a list, whether it's a person, Brian, in your case, consultants that can help on an hourly basis for advanced questions on things. What type of resources would you guys like? Because I'm here for you. And again, this is an ongoing question as you go through the weeks and you come across something, jot it down, be like, I'm going to bring this question to Zac or this resource. Like, what if we had this type of thing that's here? And so, yeah, there's a couple that are being dropped in the chat here. Ralph put our link to our resources page that are on there. Kevin put the RV Park consultant, and looks like he also put a campground consulting group. Yeah, not sure if they do hourly on that. Yeah, there's another guy that I know that's like an SBA. He used to underwrite for SBA loans. I can put his contact in. He used to do hourly. I don't know if he does hourly anymore, but he's someone that's in sub 2. I don't know that I'm going to find that right here while we're here, but I'll make a note and I'll drop that in our Facebook group for all of that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Jazz Dev.
Jazz.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Connor.
I know Jazz. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I know that he'll dive into the financial aspects of it, and yeah, he used to do hourly. So just as many resources we can have to look at some of these things to help out, because those are great questions. And this is also something that we're considering. I know that I'm probably, if I'm stepping on Ralph's toes, talking about some things, but Ralph's having us structure some things to help anyone else, Brian, like yourself, that has these questions, because we can only get so deep in these sessions that we have right here, but they're great freaking questions, right? But how do we make a time for other people that have really advanced questions, and just to pick apart your deal in specific and to really honor everybody else that's there. How can we put that all together in a space that makes sense? And that's something that we're building. Ralph's definitely leaning on us to build. Hopefully that helps, Brian. Yeah, because there's something that's hinky with that. There's something that's suspect with all of that. But yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll definitely try to connect with some people to help me with maybe just another pair of eyes to look at the financials.
Yeah. And even just posting something in our groups, right? Post it in our group and say, hey, I've got this deal, and just some of those basic things and those questions on it, and say, who can help? Who can help with this? Because you never know. There might be someone that really loves doing all of that and just wants to orbit, just wants to help out, be around other people.
That would be,
that'd
be amazing.
That they can learn. So, I mean, that's just all these different resources are possible. So just lean into all of that. Yeah, Jamar's asking what market is it in, just, without giving away anything.
It's in Michigan.
Michigan. So beautiful parks in Michigan.
Yeah.
Link for the Facebook group, RV Park Mastery. Connor, it might have been the official one. I know that we've got Rhonda and Rick. They help out. Rhonda's the admin for that group. And she admits people into it. I don't know if you were asking if you were submitted, and you didn't get approved into the group yet. I know she's someone who's just helping out, but yeah, thanks, Lizanne. That's the group. Cool.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian, man. And that's a fun one. See, and I love diving into those things, and it's just a puzzle to me. Get my engineering hat on and say, all right, what's going on? And then we structure it in a way that we can have a conversation with the seller so that we know what these are the questions. Hey, what's going on with this? Something seems a little off, but just it's that puzzle to solve. And then we can get to the bottom of it all. Awesome. Ways. There's a couple other questions that we have in here. So, all right. Ways of proof of funds. I see something from Kevin. So going back to any resources that you guys would have, any questions or resources that you guys might have. Yeah. And if you guys need things like proof of funds, things like that, that's entirely possible. If you're in sub 2, anyone that's in sub 2, you can email support@sub2.com and ask for the proof of funds, and you can get a credibility package proof of funds from there. Anyone that wants to work with us, if we are going to be your end buyers that you're finding leads for, we can end up helping you with proof of funds. We can help you with credibility, and even get you to tee up things for me to have a conversation with them. Now, back from Mexico, I can fold into things a little bit more, work with you, Lizanne, and we'll have some fun calling some of these sellers up and going through all of that. Because I really love talking with sellers. Who was it? I was meeting with someone earlier today, and they were scraping. Basically, they're doing what I was telling you guys that you can easily do, is go to Google, search RV parks, and then you get these, all the RV parks in whatever area that you want. You scrape that information. You can do that manual. You can program something. There's softwares that can do that and put that in a list for you. But having conversations with RV park owners, basically business owners versus a single family home owner, it's an elevated conversation that ends up happening. It's an easier conversation, very frankly, just to let you know, because single family homes, I mean, gosh, that's where I started out. And they feel like this was their baby. They've owned it for a long time. That's all their memories with their kids and their marks of the heights of the kid. Like, there's so many memories that are there, and they might have a bad situation that happens to them. And now it's like you're taking that away, when literally you're just like, I'm trying to help you out of this jam that you're in. So there's like friction that can happen. And it's just a different conversation, because it can be anyone of every different educational level. Where if somebody already owns an RV park and they're potentially looking to sell it, they've dealt with a lot of things from a business aspect of it. It's just an elevated conversation. They understand taxes for a business a little bit differently. They might not understand how to value it. And that's where there's some education that has to happen for them. But it's a better conversation, that it's an easier conversation. A lot of times, like Brian's, gosh, they own it free and clear. That's amazing. Yeah, you can structure lots of things with that. But yeah, they might not have their financials squeaky clean. Some do, a lot of them don't. And that's okay. That's okay. It's a different type of work. So you need someone to clean that shoebox up of everything. And part of it is just working with their CPA. I'm sure they have a CPA. I mean, they're paying someone to do it. They're not doing these things themselves. No one wants to do that. But yeah, if anyone has any deals, submit them there. There's a website as well. Lots of opportunities. What else? What else comes to mind? Anything else you guys want us to look at quick? We're kind of at the top of the hour here. I want to get you guys out here early because it is day after Thanksgiving. I don't know, you might have a turkey hangover. We'll call it that, any type of hangover. But yeah, so if you guys do have any other resources that you think of that you're interested in throughout the week, tag me on something, post on something, message me in any which way that you have my information, reach out. I want you to know that I'm accessible, just sometimes slower to respond. If I were to show you right now, I mean, there was one night while I was on vacation that I stayed up until 2 a.m. and I responded to everyone, just because I had to get them done. This is the only time that I had while everyone was literally sleeping. My little boy was kicking me right next to me because it's the only time we got two beds, right? The 2 full beds, as opposed to our normal bed here, where we've got our bassinet on one side, and I pulled this little crib with the one side down. So my 2-year-old is pushed into that now. And he mostly stays in there. He basically creeps into bed at some point with us. But we had to have 2 separate beds. So we divided and conquered. My wife got our 7-month-old and I got our 2-year-old. Man, he kicks in the middle of the night. He doesn't matter how much I file his toenails. I swear, it just digs right into me. I'm like, dude, you're killing me, right? But it's cute as he's snoring and kicking into me as I'm responding to people in paradise in Cancun on the beach. So no complaints. But yeah, feel free to message me is the point of that. In any which way possible, let's do some great things together. Let's buy some RV parks. If you have any more questions, next Friday, you'll be with Kevin and Ralph again. I will be in Florida cheering on my sister-in-law. She's a twin of my wife, and she competed in this Deca Strong, and she's now competing in Worlds because she was so fast and all of that. She's now competing in the world champion for that down in Florida. So we're going to go cheer her on. Go, Auntie, go. Go, Auntie, go. And, fitness is a big part of what we'll do. You'll see more of all of that starting January 1st. Not that we're not doing it until then, but there's some fun things that are happening in January as well. Just a holistic approach to life. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this. I hope we answered some of your questions, gave you a little inspiration, and look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Thank you so much. Appreciate you again.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Invest In podcast. I hope you picked up insights to fuel your investing journey. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating and review. It helps more adventurers like you find us. For behind-the-scenes content and updates on our RV resort projects, follow @GoInvestIn on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Want to dive even deeper? Visit MaverikAsherInvestments.com for resources and tune into next Thursday for another episode. Until then, keep investing, keep exploring, and I'll see you on the road.